Welcome back to our channel, World Coins History. As you knew that old is gold, but these rare states $quarter coins that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Today, we are talking about a quarter you've probably held 100 times, and never once thought twice about. But what if I told you that this exact coin, the 1999 Connecticut state quarter, has quietly turned pocket change into three-figure collectibles for some people who knew what to look for? Most of these are worth 25 cents. No mystery there. But a tiny number slipped out with mistakes, strange details, or perfect strikes that collectors fight over. And by the end of this video, I'll tell you what one of these actually sold for at auction. In plain words, no hype. So let's look at it. Pull one out if you have it. On screen, we're holding the 1999 Connecticut quarter, part of the very first year of the 50-state quarters program. Flip it over and you see the charter oak. That tree isn't just decoration. It's a symbol of American rebellion. In the 1600s, colonists hid their royal charter inside that tree to protect their right to self-govern. That's real history sitting in your hand. Now take a closer look. Zoom in on the branches. Notice how detailed the leaves are. The vines curling around the trunk. That level of detail matters, because this is where things start getting interesting. Over 1 billion of these were minted. That sounds like it should make the coin boring. But when mints are pumping out coins that fast, mistakes happen. And some of those mistakes are exactly what collectors look for. One thing to watch for is weak or missing details. If parts of the tree look flat or smeared, that could be a grease-filled die error. Basically, grease clogged the die during striking, and parts of the design didn't transfer fully. Most people spend these without noticing. Collectors don't. Then there are off-center strikes. If the design is pushed noticeably to one side and part of the coin is missing, stop. That's not damage. That's a mint error. And yes, people pay real money for that. Look along the edge next. If the coin looks wider than normal or the rim is oddly shaped, that could be a broad strike. Again, a mistake at the mint. Again, collectible, but here's the real cliffhanger. Even without errors, condition alone can turn this quarter into something special. Most of these coins were used, scratched, dropped, and forgotten. But a small number survived in near-perfect shape. No wear. Sharp details. Clean surfaces. Those coins get graded. And when a 1999 Connecticut quarter hits an extremely high grade, collectors take notice fast. One of these, in top condition, has sold at auction for a few $100s. Not thousands. Not fantasy money. Real, documented sales. A few $100s for a coin that once bought a gumball. That's why this coin matters. It's not about being rare to exist. It's about being rare to survive perfectly, or rare because something went wrong at the mint. So here's the fun part. Think about how many jars, drawers, and old collections are out there. How many people saved these quarters when the state program launched? How many never bothered to look closely? Do you own this coin? Have you ever checked one under good light? Which state quarter would you love to add to your collection if you could pick just one? Before you scroll away, remember this. The 1999 Connecticut quarter shows how everyday history, small mistakes, and condition can turn ordinary change into something worth real money. Most are worth face value. Some error coins can reach into the hundreds. And the best preserved examples have proven that even a modern quarter can surprise you. Top 2, we are talking about a quarter that looks peaceful, almost calm, but quietly caused a frenzy among collectors the moment it entered circulation. The 2020 Salt River Bay quarter is one of those coins people spent without thinking, while others pulled them aside knowing something special was going on. And stick with me, because in a minute I'll show you why some of these quarters are worth face value, some are worth several dollars, and a few have sold for shockingly more than anyone expected from a modern coin. Grab the coin and bring it close. On screen, let's zoom in slowly. This is the Salt River Bay National Historical Park and Ecological Preserve quarter. issued in 2020 as part of the America the Beautiful series. Flip it over and you see a mangrove forest rising out of shallow water, with bright fish swimming below the surface. It's one of the few U.S. coins where the underwater world is just as important as what's above it. That design isn't random. Salt River Bay, in the U.S. Virgin Islands, protects coral reefs, mangroves, and ancient archaeological sites. This quarter represents both natural beauty and human history, all packed into 25 cents. Now here's where things get interesting. This coin was minted in Philadelphia and Denver like usual, but some were also struck at West Point. Those have a tiny W mint mark on the front. Let's pause there. Zoom in tight on Washington's portrait. Look just to the right of his ponytail. If you see a W, you've got something special. West Point quarters were released quietly into circulation, and many people spent them without noticing. Today, even circulated examples often sell for around $10 to $20. Uncirculated ones can go higher, but that's not the only twist. Collectors have found errors on this coin. Look closely at the lettering. Some show doubled letters. Others have die chips that look like extra bumps on the design, especially near the rim or in the water. Off-center strikes exist too, where the design is pushed noticeably to one side. These aren't damage. These are mint mistakes, and they're exactly what collectors hunt for. Here's the cliffhanger part. Condition matters more than almost anything. Most of these quarters were used during a rough year. They were handled, dropped, and scratched. But a few survived in pristine shape. When a Salt River Bay quarter, especially a West Point example, is professionally graded in top condition, auction prices have reached well over $100. Not rumors. Real sales. Real collectors. So now I want to know. Do you own this coin? Have you ever checked your change for a W mint mark? Which modern U.S. coin would you love to find next? To wrap it up, the 2020 Salt River Bay quarter is a reminder that modern coins can still surprise us. Beautiful design. Real history. Hidden rarities. And actual market value that goes far beyond pocket change if you know what to look for. Top 3, we are talking about a quarter that looks simple, almost quiet, but hides one of the boldest stories ever put on U.S. money. The 2006 Nevada State Quarter. A coin that most people spend without a second glance, while collectors flip it over and immediately start checking details. Stay with me, because in a minute I'll show you why this quarter stands out from the entire state series, which errors people actively hunt for, and how much the right version has actually sold for. Bring the coin close. On screen, let's get a clean close-up. Flip it over and you see a wild horse standing proud in front of snow-capped mountains. That horse isn't random. Nevada is known as the Silver State, but it's also known for its wild mustangs, symbols of freedom and survival in harsh desert land. The inscription, "The Silver State," sits quietly above, almost daring you to notice it. Now here's a fun detail most people miss. Nevada was the first state quarter to feature a wild animal that wasn't officially tied to a single historical figure or building. No presidents. No monuments. Just raw Nevada energy. That alone makes this coin memorable, but memory doesn't equal value. So let's talk about what actually matters. Over 1 billion Nevada quarters were minted in Philadelphia and Denver, which means most are worth face value. But mistakes happened. And that's where collectors lean in. Look closely at the lettering. Some coins show doubling, especially in Nevada or the Silver State. If the letters look thick or shadowed, that's not wear. That's a double die. Subtle, but valuable. Check the edges next. Off-center strikes exist, where part of the design is missing. Broad strikes too, where the coin looks wider than normal. These errors happen during high-speed minting, and they weren't caught in time. Here's the cliffhanger. Even without errors, condition can change everything. Most Nevada quarters were heavily used. But a few survived in nearly perfect shape. Sharp details on the horse. Clean fields. No wear. When those coins are professionally graded at the highest levels, collectors pay attention. Some top condition examples have sold at auction for several $100s. Not hype. Real sales. Real money. So now I've got to ask. Do you own this quarter? Have you ever checked one under good light? Which state quarter would you love to find in perfect condition? To wrap it up, the 2006 Nevada quarter combines bold design, real history, collectible errors, and proven market value. Most are pocket change. Some errors sell for tens of dollars. And the best preserved examples have crossed into the hundreds. Top 4, we are talking about a quarter that looks calm, patriotic, and almost boring at first glance, but ended up being one of the most saved, searched, and quietly valuable coins of the entire state quarters program. The 2000 Massachusetts quarter. A coin millions of people tucked away without realizing why it mattered, and stay with me, because by the end of this video I'll explain which versions collectors actually want, what errors people are hunting for, and how much the best examples have really sold for. Grab the coin and bring it in close. On screen, let's slow down and zoom in. Flip it over and you see the Minuteman statue from Concord. Musket in hand. Ready. This isn't just art. This represents the opening moments of the American Revolution. The shot heard round the world. Massachusetts didn't just join history. It kicked the door open. Look at the details. The folds in the coat. The stance. The confidence. This design was chosen because it captures ordinary people standing up and changing everything. That alone makes this quarter special. Now here's something most people don't realize. This was only the second state quarter released in the year 2000, and the demand was massive. People were pulling these from circulation the moment they appeared. That led to rushed minting. And rushed minting leads to mistakes. This is where collectors lean in. Check the lettering on the reverse. Some Massachusetts quarters show doubling, especially in Massachusetts or E pluribus unum. If the letters look thick or slightly shadowed, that's not wear. That's a double die error. Look at the rim next. Some coins were struck off center, where part of the design is missing. Others are broad strikes, where the coin looks wider than normal with a stretched out appearance. These aren't damaged coins. These are mint errors, and they're collectible. Here's the cliffhanger. Even if your coin has no errors, condition can change everything. Most of these quarters were used hard. Scratches. Bag marks. Wear on the Minuteman's legs and musket. But a small number survived in near-perfect shape. When a Massachusetts quarter is professionally graded at the highest levels, collectors compete for them. Some top condition examples have sold at auction for a few $100s. Not hype. Real results. Real money. So now I've got to ask. Do you own this quarter? Did you ever save one back in 2000? Which state quarter would you love to find in flawless condition? Let's wrap it up. The 2000 Massachusetts quarter isn't valuable because it's old. It's valuable because of its history, its iconic design, minting errors, and how hard it is to find in perfect condition today. Most are worth face value. Error coins can sell for tens of dollars. And the best preserved examples have crossed into the hundreds. Top 5, and last rare coin, we are talking about a quarter that confuses a lot of people, even collectors. A 2007 Washington quarter that looks like George Washington, honoring George Washington, on a coin that already has George Washington on it. Sounds normal, right? It's not. And that confusion is exactly why some of these slipped through hands without anyone noticing what they could be worth. Stick with me, because in a bit I'll show you what makes this coin different, which versions collectors actually want, and how much the right one has sold for when it hits the auction block. Grab the coin and bring it in close. On screen, let's zoom slowly. On the front, nothing looks unusual at first. It's the classic Washington portrait we've seen on quarters for decades. Now flip it over. There he is again. A younger George Washington, standing strong, hand on hip. This is the Washington State quarter, released in 2007 as part of the 50 State Quarters program. This was the final coin in the entire State Quarter series. The closer. The mic drop. And the designers knew it. That's why they chose to honor the first president in the state named after him. No landscapes. No animals. Just Washington himself, front and back. The only U.S. quarter where the same person appears on both sides. Now here's where things get interesting. Millions were minted in Philadelphia and Denver, so most are worth face value. But end-of-series coins often come with surprises. Production fatigue sets in. Dies wear out. Errors sneak through. Look closely at the lettering on the reverse. Zoom in on Washington and the Evergreen State. Some coins show doubling in the letters. If it looks slightly shadowed or thick, that's a double die, not wear. Check Washington's outline next. Some coins show die chips, little raised blobs of metal, often near the coat or along the edges. Those came from cracked dies and are collectible. Now look at the strike itself. On some coins, the details of Washington's coat are weak or flat. Others are razor sharp. That difference matters. Condition matters. Here's the cliffhanger. Most of these quarters were spent immediately. But a small number were pulled straight from mint rolls and saved. Those coins, when perfectly struck and professionally graded, become a completely different story. Top condition examples of the 2007 Washington quarter have sold at auction for well over $100. Error coins can bring even more depending on how dramatic the mistake is. Not guesses. Documented sales. So let me ask you. Do you own this coin? Did you ever notice it's the only quarter with the same person on both sides? Which state quarter would you love to find with a major error? Let's wrap this up. The 2007 Washington quarter isn't just another modern coin. It's the finale of a historic series, a unique design, and a quiet playground for collectors who know what to look for. Most are worth 25 cents. Error coins can sell for tens of dollars. And the best preserved examples have crossed into the hundreds. If this made you want to check your change, hit like. Drop a comment with what you've found. Subscribe for more coin stories, and watch the next video, because the most overlooked coin in your pocket might be the next one we talk about.